Today, we are counting down 9 mistakes Harley owners keep making that lead to catastrophic repair bills. Stick around, because number 1 is something you probably consider good bike care, and it's silently destroying your engine from the outside in. Number 9. Adjusting the drive belt tight like a sport bike. Every rider who came up on Japanese machines or sport bikes has the same instinct. See a belt with slack, pull it tight. Zero play means zero problems. On paper, that logic makes perfect sense. But on a Harley-Davidson, there is one massive problem with that approach. These are not lightweight sport bikes with solid mounted engines. A Harley power plant sits in rubber isolation mounts that allow the engine and transmission to move slightly during operation. That movement is engineered into the design. When the suspension compresses over bumps and the drivetrain shifts position, a belt adjusted too tight when cold acts like a giant metal lever pulling directly against the transmission output shaft. The result is catastrophic damage that builds invisibly over thousands of miles. That constant tension chews through the inner primary bearing first, then it rips through the main shaft oil seals. Eventually, it destroys the transmission case bearings entirely. Riders who over-tighten their belts end up staring at repair estimates north of $2,000, wondering how a simple adjustment turned into a transmission rebuild. The factory specifies exactly 10 pounds of force, measured with a dedicated Harley belt tension gauge tool. And that measurement must be taken on the side stand, or lift exactly as the service manual dictates for the specific frame style. Different chassis configurations require different checking positions. Getting this wrong because you assumed all belts work the same way is an expensive education in Harley-specific engineering. And if you thought a belt adjustment mistake was bad, wait until you see number 8, a winter storage habit that destroys batteries and starter motors simultaneously. Number 8. Letting the bike sit all winter without a battery tender. 4 months in a cold garage seems harmless enough. The battery was fresh last spring. The bike looks fine under its cover. But there is one massive problem lurking under that fuel tank. Modern Harleys run constant parasitic draw from the security system and ECU even when parked. That slow drain pulls the battery down week after week until it sits completely dead in freezing temperatures. Once a lead-acid battery discharges fully and freezes, it undergoes sulfation. Permanent crystalline deposits form on the plates, destroying the battery's capacity forever. No amount of charging brings it back. The damage compounds when spring arrives, and the rider tries to force that half-dead battery to crank a massive V-twin. Harley engines feature huge high-compression pistons that demand immense cold-cranking amps to turn over. A weak battery struggles to spin that motor fast enough. The starter clutch engages repeatedly under maximum load. The starter motor overheats. The result is a burnout starter that costs $350 to replace, plus a dead battery that needs another $150 to remedy. A $40 smart tender prevents all of it. Modern float chargers do not just charge, they actively prevent sulfation by maintaining optimal voltage throughout the storage season. Skipping this simple precaution turns winter storage into a $500 spring surprise. And if you thought battery neglect was costly, wait until you see number 7, where topping off your oil the wrong way blows gaskets and ruins air filters. Number 7. Blindly overfilling the engine oil. The dipstick shows low. The instinct is obvious. Add oil until it reads full and ride away. On paper, that is basic motorcycle maintenance. But on a Harley-Davidson, there is one massive problem with checking oil on a cold engine. These are dry sump systems, meaning oil gets scavenged out of the engine case and stored in a separate tank or oil pan cavity. When the bike sits overnight, oil naturally seeps past the internal check valve and drains down into the crankcase. This phenomenon is called wet sumping, and it makes a cold dipstick reading completely meaningless. That dipstick shows low because a significant portion of the oil supply has migrated into the engine case temporarily. If a rider tops up to the full line while cold, the system now contains far too much oil. Once the engine warms up and the scavenge pump does its job, all that excess fluid gets forced back into the oil tank. The result is oil blowing straight through the crankcase breathers. It soaks the air filter. It sprays across the rider's leg and boots. It blows out oil tank gaskets and pushes past rocker cover seals. The correct procedure requires running the bike until it reaches full operating temperature, then parking it on the proper stand configuration and reading the dipstick only after the scavenge system has returned all oil to the tank. Checking oil cold on a dry sump engine is not maintenance. It is the first step toward a greasy, expensive mess. And if you thought oil level mistakes were frustrating, wait until you see number 6, where ignoring your cables quietly destroys your entire clutch pack. Number 6. Neglecting cable lubrication and play adjustments. That clutch lever has felt a little stiff for months now. The throttle takes more effort than it used to. Easy enough to ignore when the bike still runs. But there is one massive problem building inside that primary cover every time a neglected clutch cable prevents full disengagement. When cable free play disappears due to stretching or lack of lubrication, the clutch mechanism cannot fully release the plates. The rider feels increasing resistance at the lever and compensates by pulling harder. Meanwhile, the clutch plates maintain constant microscopic contact even at stops. They drag, they slip, they generate friction heat that cooks the clutch pack from the inside out. Simultaneously, that incomplete disengagement forces the transmission to accept gear changes under load. The rider jams the shifter harder to overcome the resistance. Shift forks take punishment they were never designed for. Transmission dogs wear at accelerated rates. The result is a burnt clutch pack replacement costing $400 in parts alone, plus transmission damage that can double or triple that estimate. Proper maintenance requires lubricating cables annually with a pressure injector tool and always adjusting the clutch pack mechanism inside the primary, first before touching the cable's slack adjuster at the frame. Getting that sequence backwards guarantees improper free play, no matter how carefully the cable gets set. And if you thought cable neglect was destructive, wait until you see number 5, where loose bolts inside your primary housing can strip an entire transmission main shaft. Number 5. Ignoring loose primary pulley and sprocket bolts. That primary cover stays bolted shut for years at a time. Out of sight means out of mind. But there is one massive problem hiding inside that aluminum housing, and it builds with every mile ridden. The violent power pulses of a big V-twin create harmonic vibrations that travel through every fastener in the drivetrain. Over tens of thousands of miles, those vibrations work against the bolts, holding the sprocket shaft nut and rear pulley in place. If those fasteners were not properly treated with thread locker and torqued to exact specifications during the last service, they begin backing off microscopically. The rider notices nothing at first, maybe a slight vibration that seems normal for an older Harley. Then the looseness reaches a critical point, and the pulley begins moving on its splines. The result is catastrophic destruction of the transmission main shaft. Those hardened splines get stripped away by the vibrating pulley until the drivetrain loses all power transfer. Even worse, the aluminum primary housing itself can crack from the lateral forces. Fixing this damage means a complete transmission teardown and potential case replacement running well over $2,000 in parts and labor. Every single time the primary cover comes off for clutch service or chain adjustment, those critical fasteners must be inspected, cleaned, treated with red Loctite, and torqued with a calibrated wrench. Assuming they stay tight because they were tight last time is gambling with the most expensive components in the drivetrain. And we have officially reached the halfway point. So if you thought these first 5 mistakes were expensive, you need to see what comes next, because number 4 involves brake failure and repair bills over $1,000. Number 4. Skipping the 2-year ABS brake fluid flush. The reservoir window shows relatively clear fluid. The brakes still feel firm at the lever. Why bother with an expensive flush when everything seems fine? But there is one massive problem with that logic, and it involves the complex hydraulic system hiding behind that front wheel. Harley-Davidson ABS units use tight-tolerance actuator blocks with precision-machined valve passages. Brake fluid is hygroscopic, meaning it aggressively absorbs moisture directly from the atmosphere through microscopic pores in rubber lines and seals. Over 2 years, that moisture accumulation reaches levels that create serious internal corrosion. Rust particles and crystalline deposits form inside the ABS valve body. The rider never notices because normal braking feels identical. The damage reveals itself only during an emergency stop, when the ABS system attempts to actuate for the first time in months. Corroded valves stick. The system locks up completely. The rider either loses all braking pressure or gets a locked caliper that throws the bike sideways. The result is either a crash or a frozen ABS module that requires dealership diagnostic equipment to even identify. Replacement ABS hydraulic units cost well over $1,000 in parts alone before labor enters the estimate. The factory 2-year flush interval exists specifically to prevent this moisture accumulation before it reaches destructive levels. That $100 flush every 24 months protects against a repair bill 10 times larger. And if you thought ABS failure was scary, wait until you see number 3, where improper starting technique explodes starter components into metal shrapnel. Number 3. Treating the engine to dry starter cranking. High compression builds deliver massive power but demand respect during startup. Aftermarket cams and increased displacement create cylinder pressures that can exceed 200 psi. On a boiling summer day, with heat-soaked engine cases, those pressures climb even higher. Jumping on the starter button without preparation seems normal enough, but there is one massive problem waiting inside that primary housing. Manual compression releases exist on high-performance twin cam and aftermarket builds specifically to vent initial cylinder pressure before cranking. When a rider ignores those releases, the starter motor must fight against brutal mechanical resistance. Heat-expanded pistons create even tighter clearances. The starter drive engages the ring gear under maximum load conditions. The result is catastrophic mechanical failure. Starter teeth can snap clean off the ring gear under that shear stress. The starter drive unit itself can shatter apart, dropping hardened metal fragments directly into the primary drive components. Those metal shards then get carried by oil and chain movement into the clutch basket and compensator assembly, turning a starter problem into a complete primary rebuild. Fixing the damage means a new ring gear requiring engine case separation, plus starter replacement, plus primary component inspection running, potentially $3,000 or more. Riders with performance builds must make compression release actuation an absolute muscle memory habit before every single start, regardless of weather conditions. And we are almost at number 1, but first, you need to see number 2, where a neglected bearing creates a terrifying high-speed handling failure. Number 2. Neglecting steering head bearings. Year after year, the bike tracks straight down the highway. The steering feels normal enough for a heavy touring rig. Why would anyone bother checking bearings that seem perfectly functional? But there is one massive problem developing inside that steering neck, and it builds so gradually that most riders never notice until disaster strikes. Harleys are massive machines with enormous front-end weight, pressing directly down on the steering stem bearings. Factory grease dries out over time, losing its protective film. Constant straight-line highway riding pounds those roller bearings into the steel races in exactly the same position, mile after mile. Eventually, the races develop distinct mechanical notches right at center position. The rider feels this as a subtle tendency for the handlebars to want to stay pointed straight. Steering feels slightly sticky when initiating turns. Most riders dismiss it as normal Harley handling characteristics. The result becomes terrifying at highway speeds. That notched center position creates unpredictable handling when lane changes or curves require steering input. The bike wants to track into pavement grooves. Crosswinds cause excessive wandering. In worst cases, the notching triggers a violent high-speed tank slapper as the front wheel oscillates uncontrollably between notched positions. Fixing this damage requires a complete front-end teardown to press out the destroyed races and install new bearings. Labor alone runs several $100s before parts enter the estimate. The factory fall-away or swing test takes 5 minutes and should happen every 10,000 miles. Proper preload adjustment and fresh grease prevents a potentially fatal handling failure. And now, We have finally reached number 1, the most common mistake Harley owners make every single summer, and the destruction it causes requires complete engine teardowns to repair. Number 1. Washing a hot bike. A 2-hour summer ride ends at home. The bike is covered in bugs and road grime. The garden hose sits right there looking convenient. Spraying down a dirty motorcycle seems like responsible ownership, but there is one absolutely massive problem with that logic, and it is silently destroying air-cooled V-twins every summer weekend across the country. This is the ultimate engine killer disguised as a cleaning habit. An air-cooled Harley engine easily reaches operating temperatures between 200 and 250 degrees Fahrenheit during normal riding. Exhaust headers run significantly hotter, with manifold temperatures climbing past 500 degrees on hard-ridden bikes. When cold water hits metal at those temperatures, the thermal shock is instantaneous and catastrophic. Different components contract at different rates depending on their mass and material composition. Thin brake rotors warp immediately as one side cools faster than the other. Exhaust port flanges crack from the sudden temperature differential. The real destruction happens inside the engine cases. Cylinder head studs are aluminum threaded into aluminum cases. Cold water hitting hot aluminum causes rapid contraction that literally pulls those studs out of their threads. Cylinder heads distort microscopically, creating gaps in the head gasket sealing surfaces. The rider might not notice anything immediately. The bike starts fine the next morning, but those warped heads now leak combustion pressure past the gaskets. Oil weeps from surfaces that previously sealed perfectly. Within weeks, the engine develops mysterious consumption issues and unexplained oil spots. The result is a complete engine teardown requiring professional machine work to resurface heads and repair stripped stud threads. Estimates start around $1,500 and climb rapidly, depending on the extent of the thermal damage. Some engines require complete case replacement, pushing repairs past $5,000. The correct procedure requires nothing more than patience. Park the bike in the shade. Go inside and let the engine cool completely to ambient temperature. That process takes 30 to 45 minutes minimum. Only then should water touch any component. Riders who cannot wait that long are gambling their entire engine against a few minutes of convenience. That wraps up 9 mistakes that quietly destroy Harleys every single year, and number 1 proves that even good intentions can crack an engine block. Let us know in the comments which mistake you have seen, cause the most damage, and subscribe for more insider breakdowns that keep your V-twin on the road.